My name is Jeff D. I'm an analyst in the Department of Customer Love here at Looker. If you're new to Looker, we've created a platform that connects people with their company's data in a uniquely scalable and flexible way. We've created this video with the data analyst and developer in mind, with the idea of explaining as quickly as possible how Looker achieves that scalability and flexibility with data modeling and why it's worth your time to learn it. Let's imagine a day at work when you're making headway on an interesting project and you can really focus because the usual distractions are nowhere to be seen. No one emails or drops by to ask for a report you've pulled 100 times, and no one comes by asking you to explain why your calculation is different than someone else's. In fact, the metrics are always consistent, your less technical colleagues are pulling reports for themselves, and you didn't even have to teach them what select star means. This is the experience Looker tries to create. You describe your database in a model once, and then people without in-depth database knowledge can explore the data for themselves. The language we've created to allow this is called LookML. For many years, the basic language of data analytics has been SQL, and it's a familiar language to many analysts and developers. Looker is no exception to that rule. We love SQL, and we built our product around it. With that said, anyone who's used SQL for a while knows it has some frustrating shortcomings. For example, who hasn't had the experience of writing a dense, complicated query, coming back to it only a week or two later, and forgetting how some of it works? The problem can get even worse when trying to collaborate with someone else who may approach query writing in a completely different way or may not have remembered a subtle detail to get accurate results. Then there's the issue of just how hard seemingly simple tasks can be in SQL, like pivoting data or calculating a median. And if you change your mind about how something should be calculated, you have to track down every single place where that metric is buried in a query and carefully update it. The list goes on, but there were clearly some opportunities to improve. To address these issues, we'll use LookML. LookML is heavily SQL-based, so it's still approachable for anyone with that background. But LookML is modular and reusable, has collaboration tools like version control, and expands the problems that you can solve with SQL. Let's take a look at an example of how LookML makes the complicated elements of a SQL query easier. Let's say you work at a retailer of some kind, and someone asks you to pull the total amount of money spent by each customer this year. This is the SQL query we'll need to calculate that. We're starting with orders placed in our fictional store, then joining in information about the customers that placed the orders, combining the customer's first and last name together to create a full name, as well as capitalizing the name, calculating the total amount of money they spent and formatting it into dollars, and finally limiting the query to just this year after adjusting the time frame into our own time zone. We can see there are quite a few details to keep track of. So what would this query be like in LookML? Well, first of all, we can deal with the joins just once and all by themselves. We'll start with orders and then join in customers. Without needing to consider any other parts of the query, we can see how simple and reusable this is. Furthermore, by defining a few simple properties of the join, Looker protects us from double counting and other subtle pitfalls of joining. Next, we can consider orders all by themselves. Again, each metric we're interested in is simple, self-contained, and reusable. Additionally, we can see that Looker takes care of the tedious manipulations for us. For example, formatting the revenue into US dollars is a single, easy to understand line, and the time zone conversion is automatically taken care of by Looker. Our customer data model is similarly straightforward with simpler, shorter, and easier to understand code than the SQL. In particular, you can see how much simpler it is to combine the first and last name, then make them capitalized. And that's it. For this query, that's all that's required. Your users can now choose these options for themselves and get the information they need without requiring you to write a query or pull the data for them. Even more exciting, they can combine the joins and metrics you've defined in other combinations and still get back valid data. When you're ready and want to expand your knowledge further, be sure to check out our documentation, community forums, our sandbox learning environment, our training resources, and of course, our in-product chat.